If you take even a single look at my channel, you would see that Crypt Custodian is pretty far from my usual selection of games. It's not a dark, depressing, atmospheric journey or a gory horror game, but sometimes even I need a break from those, especially after the last game I played. So, after asking around on r/Metroidvania, Crypt Custodian came highly recommended by multiple people over there. A game made by the solo developer Kyle Thompson. In this game, you play as the black cat Pluto, who recently died and has been sent into the afterlife. He almost gets into the palace of good ghosts, but on his way to meet the underworld's boss Kendra, he destroyed some of Kendra's statues. Kendra, annoyed at this, sends Pluto to the outside and tasks him to clean the world for an eternity. That sounds like one of the softer punishments that gods would give out in like Hindu or Greek mythology. Crypt Custodian is a cute and charming little game, a game I like purely due to the sheer quality of it over the novelty of it. Other than the fact that in a world of 2D side-scrolling Metroidvanias, it dares to be a top-down game. Crypt Custodian looks and sounds delightful. The game starts off in a vibrant green rain-soaked area where the stone floor is overgrown with grass, shrubs and trees while cute cat statues pop up everywhere. The music in this area has a tinge of sadness to it, but it's really soothing and calming at the same time. Moving around this green area, shaking the shrubs, watching raindrops fall, running around near water and bridges, it's just really relaxing. And that's just the first area. All the areas in the game are unique in some ways. Different areas have different enemies that fit the theme of the place. There's the shrine with its tall platforms and mysterious floating blocks. The enemies there are these odd brass bells and angry looking spiders. But in the underground basement, where bones float in the river of purple, violet and dark hues, you fight slime monsters of the same color. There's also the sculptor's peak far above, with blue skies and pink clouds, flowers going everywhere, every corner of the place filled with different statues. Yet the enemies look like old sculptures overtaken by a black growth. And that's just a few of the 10 or so areas in the game. I am really impressed by the variety of it all and how well the themes and color palettes of the different areas come together in the visuals. The different character designs of your friends, enemy designs and animations are all just smooth and nice to look at while being varied. There's also different tracks for the different areas in the game, all lo-fi and chill. Though that does bring me to my issue with the game soundtrack. It's a bit boring. Yeah, the music fits the tone of the game and areas, but as soon as I leave the game, I kind of just forget how the songs in the OST went. And I can say that for the sound design itself. Like, don't get me wrong, the game never sounds bad, but compared to the beautiful visuals, the lack of depth when it comes to the game's sound makes it more functional than memorable. I don't really have any major problems with the game's presentation, but I do have these small nitpicks. I just wished it looked less flat at points. There's a lack of height changes in most parts of the game. It's a bit too over-reliant on squares, which once I noticed, I just kept seeing everywhere. I would have loved to see a bit more variety in shapes of the platform, maybe some irregular edges and things like that. But all that doesn't stop the exploration in this game from being extremely fun. I found the early roll to be a bit tedious and movement a bit slow, but within 2 hours I found something that increases my movement speed and turns the roll into a dash. From then on, it was smooth sailing. There are a lot of things that make the exploration so cool. I've already talked about the visual variety in different areas, but there's mechanical variety as well. It's always fun discovering what the gimmick of the area will be. It could be puzzles with these weird things which I smack to open doors, platforming with vanishing blocks I have to be quick on, a rotating bit that I have to time to jump across perfectly, and things like that. There's just so much to discover in every area of the game. It can range from different upgrades, more upgrade slots to equip these upgrades, song CDs you can exchange for cash, combat challenges, or you can rescue these poor kittens. And most importantly, uncover the backstories of the various NPCs in the game. These are sweet and simple stories that tug on your heartstrings, seeing how everyone down there misses their friends and family. Each of the areas in the game are large and expansive, sprawling in different directions with some routes open and some locked at the start. If you get overwhelmed, you can buy these cheap upgrades to get a map marker for items and make it a little easier for yourself. But I didn't want that, so I never purchased it. But it's good that it's an option. You move around exploring the place, see a platform you can get to, then go in another direction to unlock a shortcut or a new area. Sometimes maybe the game throws some platforming challenges or combat encounters. All around it's a good time. It's also really nice how by being observant I can find paths through these platforming challenges. I mentioned upgrades a bit ago. These are little additions to your character's abilities which can range from taking less fall damage or faster movement to higher attack speeds and more damage. These are small upgrades that altogether make a big impact on the general playstyle by the end. And these upgrades and slots to equip them form much of the rewards for exploration. And the great thing is that these make the exploration and the moment-to-moment combat more fun as well. Though you can't be too absent-minded either. The game gives you limited health and no way to heal between checkpoints. The combat in this game is pretty simple, but manages to strike a good balance of being hard enough that I was engaged, but easy enough that I was just making my way through without issues. Don't get me wrong, I like games that try to shank me in a dark corner, but the experience of this game was so pleasing that I just didn't care it wasn't that difficult. Quick restarts, no penalty for death, fast travel and instant teleportation makes for a frictionless design where I can tell, yeah, this game values my time. All the basic enemies have one attack each, and it only takes a few smacks of your broom to clear them out. And your abilities are kind of overpowered for these enemies anyway. You can just experiment and mess around. But when I did want some challenge, I would take on these curses and they make the game way harder temporarily. As an optional mechanic, these are great. There's also the treasure chest where you have to clear a room without taking any damage. These are great for when I just want a bit more. But the real star of the combat are the boss fights. These are pretty tough and I found myself mixing and matching the upgrades to get the best out of my combat abilities. The boss fights are much more complicated than any of the regular combat encounters. They have multiple phases, each with multiple unique attacks with often overlapping patterns that covers most of the screen. The boss fights are straight up bullet hell most of the time and I love that. This is the X factor of the game for me. I was not expecting boss fights this good and this fun in this game. I was expecting more platforming challenges and gimmicks in these. But no, these were mostly just pure combat and the game is better for it. These were the highlights of the game for me when it comes to the gameplay and works really well in finishing off an area. In general, there is no mean surprises, difficulty spikes, huge new mechanics, none of that. It also complements the story of the game, which all in all is pretty low stakes. So, Kendra sends Pluto to clean up in the afterlife for an eternity, and he cannot enter the palace. But Pluto learns that in the palace, there exists a huge mirror with which he can be beside his loved ones once again for a short while. So he gets to make friends in the afterlife, to lay siege to the palace with them and get the mirror. And that's that. It's a sweet and simple little story and it got me surprisingly emotional at points. There's not that much to it, but the vibes are good. So in conclusion, this game is solid. Everything about the game ranges from good to great and it never has any dips in quality below that. I don't actually have any notable issues with the game, but I would say that the game never did anything that exceptional which would elevate it to becoming an all-time favorite Metroidvania for me. So in simple terms, the game is good enough that it doesn't need to be less bad, but I wish it was more good. I can't wait to see what Kyle Thompson cooks up next.